Thank you all for joining this afternoon. It looks like we've got a great crowd, 28 participants. So thank you for taking time out of your day. I know it's been kind of hectic, and I know you guys have had a lot of questions, so thank you. I'm Stacy. I'm the nursing home administrator, and we're just going through our weekly update today. So as always, this is our brief agenda, so we'll open it up for more questions at the end. I'm on as well as Amanda Redepenning is on, the Care Center DON, and Gail Schlemme, the Activities Director. We're going to try to keep it to 30 minutes, but again, we can stay longer with additional questions. We'll mute you all, and then we'll unmute everybody at the end, but use the chat box because that's really helpful, and then we'll try to address those questions too. Okay. So Gail, you're up. Oh, there she is. You're still on mute, Gail.
Sorry about that. Just a brief update on activities, and that's kind of still a day-by-day thing. So I talked to assisted living, and they have some upcoming with the holidays coming. They've got some happy hours scheduled with wine and cheese and crackers. And as far as from the care center and with the holidays coming, we are going to have some type of a holiday celebration. We do not know whether it's going to be individually room to room, or if we're going to be able to get in small groups or a little bit larger groups. We still do not know that yet, but we will definitely be doing something. We are for sure doing things over the closed circuit TV. We're going to have a Christmas Eve service in the afternoon on Christmas Eve, and we will also have a fireside stories with Night Before Christmas story that morning. We are going to do reindeer races of some sort, whether the staff has to be running those races for the residents, but we'll make it work somehow. And every day at 10 and 3, we do something over the closed circuit TVs, whether it's a travelogue or a holiday movie, some type of music. This afternoon it was trivia. So every day there's always something over the TVs, twice a day. And I guess, like I said, it's just kind of it's day to day, but we will make sure that, and the activity staff are always doing one-to-ones throughout the day with people, one-to-one visits with everybody. So that's not in the COVID unit anyway. And I guess if you have any questions at the end, you can check in with me then. But that's kind of a brief update.
I don't know why I thought that was so funny. I was just talking away to nobody. I took myself off of mute now, as you can tell. You know, we got to laugh at things often during the day to lighten the load. So our countryside public health numbers, as you can see, I focus on the 1 week ago columns. So our confirmed cases, of course, are always going to continue to go up because it's just cumulative. But our active cases is what's a little bit interesting. So our active cases have actually gone down. Those are ones that are currently active that we're monitoring. So those have actually gone down in our service area. Our deaths, though, of course, will always be status quo or increase because it's cumulative number. And as you all know, we did have one death in our care center this week. That resident tested positive just 2 days ago and passed away. So we have that extra death. That's what the Lac-Parle death. Well, that might not even, I believe that's reflected in these numbers. Okay. And this is from CMS and MDH. Now, of course, these numbers are just a little bit lagged. So this is as of 12/3, December 3rd, and it's last week's numbers. But the piece of good news is our Lac-Parle County positivity rate has actually gone down. That's the number of tests that are positive divided by the total number of tests. So has Minnesota's by a little bit. But our cumulative case rate has actually gone up. So we are just testing more, which will be reflected in the next slide. So, or the next one, I'm sorry, but this slide just shows again how we're at the 7.3%. We're at a yellow for Lac Pearl County, and all the counties around us are at a red. However, it's a little bit of an anomaly here because if you look at it, we actually tested in the last 14 days 32,000 people in Lac Pearl County. Whereas you can see even in Chippewa, who's 3 times plus bigger than us, they tested 23,000. So that is by virtue, our positivity rate is going to be lower, even though our positive cases are higher than normal. So like we've had 2,100 positive cases, and Chippewa has just had 500 more than we have. We're significantly, we're higher than Swift County, we're higher than Yellow Medicine County. So as you can tell, we have more positive cases, and we're just testing a lot more because of our higher positivity rate. So that's where we're trying to test to catch things early to stop the spread, and it's shown in these numbers. And it will continue to be this way next week too. So we currently have 23 residents with COVID, 1 resident death. Now, whether it's from COVID or whether it's from other reasons, that resident had COVID. So we're just including it for now until we find out if it gets included in the numbers. We've had 1 resident that recovered. Of our staff members, we currently have 12 out on quarantine, but 11 of ours have recovered. So if it makes sense, we've had 23 total care center residents that have had COVID. In a sense, yeah. Can you go back up one more, Kristen? Assisted living, these numbers are status quo as well. We had 1 tenant that has recovered and 1 assisted living staff recovered. But what this means for our care center is we're still in outbreak status. We'll be in outbreak status till we have 2 weeks of 0 positives. There we go. Okay, Kristen. So we're still doing the same precautions, but a little bit more. So we're screening prior to every shift. We actually are testing our long-term care staff before every shift with a quick test from the state. So every shift, we're able to do a quick test within 15 minutes and find out if they can start working or not. All staff are wearing N95 masks on every shift. The residents are now screened 2 times a day in the non-COVID unit and 3 times a day in the COVID unit. All the high-touch areas continue to be cleaned frequently. In the COVID unit specifically, everyone's under droplet precautions, which means we wear goggles, N95 mask, gloves, and gowns. And we separate the staff as much as possible. There are a few staff that have to garb up and go in to the COVID unit, but all of the direct care clinical staff, as much as possible, we're trying to keep those staff separate. Okay, here's a map of our care center. And as you can see, our COVID unit is all in yellow. It's where it says River Road. So our COVID unit has been expanded all the way through River Road. There's 28 rooms. Yes, 28 rooms, I believe. Yes, 28 rooms in River Road, 28 rooms in Prairie Lane. So we have 28 rooms, so 5 of them are open right now in the COVID unit. So if we had to move another resident over, I believe that's still true. I think it's 23. Amanda, is that correct? Okay.
I'm looking real quick.
I know we did 1 more test this morning. I just didn't know for sure.
We have 4 open rooms in the COVID unit.
Yeah, so that, yes, okay. And in the non-COVID unit, then that's the whole Prairie Lane. So it's separated by that barrier wall that's indicated between the yellow, or between River Road and Prairie Lane. Okay. Just a few quick discussion points. So we're making every attempt to call the resident and tenant families. The resident families, I should say, not the tenant families. We currently don't have COVID in the assisted living, so we're not calling those families every day. But on the care center side, we're calling the resident family contact, just the contact, and asking them to notify everyone else, the first contact. Now, it's either the doctor or the nurse is calling because there's some clinical concerns. If you get a call from myself or Kristen, it's likely there's not any major concerns. We're getting an update from the nurse and the physician note. And if there's any, if it's not of any major concern, then we're able to make that call. We make every effort to do that every day during the week. Sometime the weekends get a little tough because we're actually working on the COVID unit helping during the week and the weekend, but the weekend is a little bit shorter than the week. So I will tell you that we also were approved through a grant piece to get some U.S. public health crisis staffing. So they're actually, it's called FEMA as well. That's probably a little bit more familiar to everyone. We had did orientation for 9 nurses, 1 social worker, 1 safety officer, and a lead. And so we have about 1 or 2 extra, sometimes 3 per shift working on the COVID and non-COVID sides to assist with the cares. You know, it just takes a lot longer for each resident room when you have to put full PPP on and go into each room. If the residents are more tired because of COVID or what's going on with them, it takes more time. So this staff is welcomed. They're going to be starting at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. Another note is compassionate care visits. Those are, again, remember how we had essential caregiver visits and compassionate care. Essential caregiver are those more routine visits. Compassionate care are more of like hospice towards the end of life. If someone's just really, actually, those are the ones we're kind of almost restricting it to at this point. So whether it's COVID unit or the non-COVID unit, just because of the outbreak status, all these compassionate care visits, they have to be pre-approved. You have to be screened, temps taken. You have to wear full PPE on the COVID side. And you have to sign waivers because it's a risk for you all to come in and visit too. But especially on those residents that are needing that visit because it's towards the end of life, we're making those calls as we can. Sometimes it happens quick, whether it's COVID or not COVID. So, but we're trying our best to keep people informed, but just know that's in place. Also, the last point I'll make is the outside food, gifts, and Christmas decorations. So you can bring pre-packaged food to the front clinic hospital entrance, and that would get delivered. You could bring pre-packaged, like a pre-packaged gift. We'd actually prefer you wait until closer to Christmas. We hope to have this where it's not in such an outbreak status and be worried about Christmas gifts right now. So if you can hold off on those, and Christmas decorations as well. We have Christmas decorations here. We're doing our best to utilize them here. The issue is that we'd have to sanitize them when they came in. So it makes it really difficult to be re-sanitizing. If you wash residents' clothes at home and bring them in, we will have to work with the clothes here right now because we'd have to re-sanitize the clothes and wash them all over again, if that makes sense. So that's kind of where that's at. I'll keep this on the agenda going forward. Same thing with testing. Our county positivity rate is, because we're actually our county positivity rate is below 10, so we're only required to test once a week. But we're testing, because we're in this outbreak, we're testing every person, every long-term care person, every shift. We also are testing residents once a week and tenants once a week, and more often if needed. Our infection preventionist has been testing with quick tests all of the non-COVID residents almost on a daily basis, and every time anyone has a symptom. And then the rest of that has pretty much maintained the same. So care center visits, because we're still at that 7.3% positivity rate. Right now, we're only allowing closed window visits. So feel free to come outside the window. Sometimes people are they'll write something on or they'll call with their phone. We really encourage the virtual Zoom visits. I know Gail's staff works really hard with that. And on the COVID side, we'll make every attempt to also do that. And again, compassionate care visits only. If you want to schedule a compassionate caregiver visit, you'll need to get that pre-approved from either Amanda, and Amanda will be back in the office on Thursday. So otherwise, you could always call me, but Brenda Kaltoff, the social worker, can also schedule those. We have to determine if it's a qualifying compassionate care visit, and then we have to arrange a time where you can be met to go through that screening process, okay? Otherwise, if it's a visit, if it's a compassionate care visit on the non-COVID side, just feel free to hit this email link on the bottom, and that goes straight to activities. Assisted living visits, you can also do the window visits. You can do the virtual Zoom visits, but right now we don't want it to spread into the assisted living. So we're just trying to kind of keep things close for now.
I'm wondering if Stacy is frozen.
It seems that way, Amanda.
I'll go
Okay.
this quick.
Well, here it just again tells you how often we are going to communicate with you. Kristen has been doing a great job of sending out a daily update. As things change, we will continue to do our weekly family Zoom meetings. Website again is a great place to be looking for information, and then reaching out to us by email as well. Kristen, do you have anything to add about communication?
No, other than, like you said, we try to really keep everyone updated. If there's a new COVID positive resident or staff, we will send out an email, and then we will also post it on our website. So we just want to make sure we keep the families informed.
Okay, good. Amanda, are you talking?
Yes,
They
you were
got-
frozen.
I think everybody got sick of me, so they closed it off. So I was gonna end it there and turn it over to you anyway.
Okay, again, feel free to reach out to Stacy or I. As Stacy said, I will be back in the office on Thursday. But I'm still answering phone calls and emails. Okay, so now we will open it up to questions. Again, you can put a question in the chat box, or you can just ask it. So it looks like we have our first question. Oh, that's a, no. Any questions from anyone?
So I will say that thank you to everyone. There's been actually, I'll just let you know, there's been some businesses in town as well as resident family members that have wanted to donate candy or just meals or things like that. And just continue to work through myself or Kristen. In fact, I'm just pushing it all over to Kristen. And we just so appreciate that. It's been a great little uplift during the day. So thank you all for your support. And I think Ruth maybe had a question.
Okay, there. How about cards and mails through the post office? Are they still acceptable? You're talking about gifts.
So yes, we are delivering their mail every day to each of the residents. And we're just, because that's just something that we have to do. So we're bringing that into each resident. We actually let it sit out in the, right before it goes in the COVID unit, for a bit before we bring it in. But we bring that in and deliver that to the residents.
I'm not sure about that. Gail, do you know the answer to that question?
What question?
Does the care center get the Fox Sports North Minnesota Timberwolves channel?
You're muted, Gail. You're still muted, Gail. First one.
I know, I already did that. You're still muted, Gail. So she's answering the question, but we can't.
Okay,
There she is.
I think we get that channels, the Fox North. But I would have to double check for sure, because the channels seem like they kind of change every once in a while, but I know we were getting that channel.
Are the Timberwolves supposed to be good or what?
Gail, do you see the next question in the chat box? I think that one's for you too.
How do I just click on that box?
Yep.
What activities are being done in the assisted living this month?
I do not know I do know that they have an activity scheduled each day. A lot of times it's a game or something, but I do not have the actual calendar in front of me.
We can probably post that again out on the website too.
I think it is up there.
Okay.
I know that they've been doing a lot of baking up there. And I also know that they were decorating the tree and doing some Christmas decorations up there.
Actually, the assisted living staff over there baked cookies for the COVID unit residents and staff. So they baked them the staff did, pre-wrapped them and brought them over for, I think actually it was for the staff and the residents. So that was pretty nice to be doing within our four walls.
Yeah, they made some delicious looking pudding the other day. Did you see that?
Everybody?
Well, yeah, I gave them the option to unmute.
You just unmute everybody. Okay. Okay, well, we won't keep you guys any longer. We'll let you get going, but if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. We'll do our best to get phone calls returned. We're trying like everything to hit the plateau and hoping this is the plateau so it starts to come back down. Trying to keep quality of life with the residents during a time of isolation. It's difficult, but you know, we're just all hoping we can work together and get through this, and that's all we can do. So we'll just keep on working on it. So thank you all for your support, and you know, schedule those Zoom visits, call your loved ones, all that really helps. So thank you very much.